what's a good strategy for getting people to actually follow you? Okay, what's a good way to, because people don't want to be sold. They don't want to say, hey, click here, sub there. They don't want to do that. What's the value to them? So that's exactly the way that I like to educate them on the importance of following great hosts. Follow the great hosts so you can get more opportunities to be on stage. What are some other ways that you've been successful, Julian, in getting more followers for yourself and the other moderators that are in your room without being too salesy? What are you doing?
It's a good question, because you got to strike that balance. I think the cadence and the frequency that I bring up the following, I don't do it very often, and
right.
I keep it. I keep that down to a minimum. Maybe in a 2-hour session, I'll say it twice or 3 times, so that so that even the people who have been there from the beginning have really only heard it a few times, and maybe only the new people have heard it once or twice. And so whatever I'm about to say, bringing it up not a lot of times. Now, Mark, you actually have a really valuable way of bringing it up, because you have it from a value delivery standpoint. You say, right, hey, I'm going to bring you should follow these people, because if they host a room and you can get in early with them, you can generate a following. So it's actually a value driven. So I actually really like that. I might consider bringing that up today, or I might bring up that later on. The way I've done it is it's a tactic I learned very early on. It basically goes something like this. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We really appreciate you. One way we exchange currency here on Clubhouse is by following each other. And it just tells us, and it tells us as a panel, and it tells me as a host, that we're doing a good job with this room. And if you feel that you've gotten value, and if you feel like this room is something that should continue, please follow the panel, because it just gives us an encouragement to keep doing this week after week. Thanks, guys. That's the bit that I say.
Yeah, and I think that's a very respectful way of asking and educating. But yeah, I mean, the value driven gives you that extra layer. Here's another thing that I've been trying and kind of playing with, Julian. So let's kind of back this up a little bit, because you're saying that you're giving that call to action about 3 times in a 2-hour span. I'm a little bit more frequent than that. But again, if you sound too salesy, people don't want that. So my cadence is typically in a 2-hour session, I want to reset the room about every 15 minutes. Okay. The problem is when you're resetting a room, there's a list of a lot of different things you want to hit on, right? Follow, DM me on Instagram, make sure to follow me and the other moderators, make sure to ping your friends, make sure to join my club. There's all these different things. If you try to squeeze them in every 15 minutes, it's too much, I feel. So what I like to do is every 15 minutes, I have a list of I try to hit 2, maybe 3 of those reset topics. Those call to actions, so you can still educate and get those call to actions to your Instagram, to your Twitter, to do these different things without being too salesy. And furthermore, let's say that our main goal on there is to gain more followers. Another thing that I like to do is not necessarily ask the audience to follow me. I ask them to follow each other. Look above you, look to your left, look to your right. Listen, there are some great creators out there producing great content. Make sure that you're following these great people and connecting with them. And I think that once they get into that follow mode, they're like, well, if I'm following Mary Sue and Jim to my left, why don't I just follow Mark? Why don't I just follow Julian? They're the ones that are moderating and hosting. So it gets them kind of into that mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're taking the pressure off. Hey, I'm not selling you on me. I'm selling you on, hey, there's probably people to your left, to your right that are around there. And then that scaffolding and that foundation creates an environment for them. Well, let me go follow the other people. So I think that's wonderful. And it's really interesting. You're refreshing the room every 15 minutes. It's definitely an interesting tactic. I think there's no right or wrong answer here. Right now, I think right now what it comes down to, we're all pioneering our own strategies and what works for us. For me, I really avoid being that salesy guy. and I've generated a following. I think your numbers are higher than mine, and higher. And there's everyone who I probably share stages with are much higher than me. But I just focus on creating connection and creating really organic opportunities for myself. But I think, to your point, I could probably do a little bit better by increasing my frequency and then rotating the topics that I am refreshing the room.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed this episode. I've got several other episodes right here for you. Smash one of these videos to make sure that you don't miss out on the tips, tools, and tactics of industry experts. Let's take that side hustle full time. Smash one of these links.